What about the 40th anniversary, the Evel Knievel jump? What's going on with this thing?
Is this the Vegas one?
How did you put this together?
Robbie being Robbie.
Yeah, I showed up to Red Bull. They said, "Hey, we got this opportunity with ESPN to do something cool on New Year's Eve. Do you have any ideas?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to jump a football field because I jumped distances, and Evel Knievel had jumped like buses and cars and stuff. And I'm like, a football field, I think America would get that. And this is back in the day when I was trying to make a name here and create a life.
This was like the first big jump, right?
Yeah.
That you did.
Yeah, it was just right when I got on the map. It was like 2008.
Yeah.
And so I was still living in Linkhogel's shed up there in the Briar Rose Winery.
Yep, I remember that.
So it was, this was like a big thing for my career. But yeah, man, it's like I literally, navigated through a minefield my whole career. That I had my wheels were all bent out of shape. I think I had a broken spoke. Like when I was rolling out, I couldn't change it. It was like, yeah, just gnarliness and but just a big will. Yeah, I think it's like it meant to be, man. It's like I feel blessed because I see so many talented athletes try so hard, timing differently. I was here at a time when the career, like the industry was ready for it, and amazing people. Red Bull has been just the wind beneath my wings, and the teams. You're as good as your team, right? And I've had phenomenal people over the years that have like Chris Marter and his old team that's worked under him, and Steve Reskers, these guys like I've met them. These guys are at Red Bull. There's so many people there that I can't even mention them all because you're always. I've been there for 20 years, so I've had so many different people come in through that just had significant impacts. But it's cool, man. I'm still working with all these guys. They don't go anywhere. They just kind of go off into their own, start their own companies and work. And like Dave Mateus is like a great guy. He's been part of like Red Bull and Nitro Circus and still working with these guys today. Matt McCall has been critical to our sport. These guys are all critical to our sport, to freestyle motocross.
Dane Herron, like all the dudes. Yeah, Tess. Yeah. Even Tabley. Like there's so many people behind the scenes that have like helped the sport and helped riders and stunts like this go down,
Totally.
I remember when you wanted to do the Vegas jump, when you jumped on to, what was that, the Paris Hotel, the Arc de Triomphe?
It was New Year's Eve.
Yeah. And I remember we went out there a couple of weeks before. He's like, I want you to come out with me and like, we're going to go up top and we're going to look, So we're inside the tower, we're climbing up. And I remember I get halfway up and I'm like, I start getting nauseous. Like I start getting sick feeling where I'm like, I don't want to say nothing to Matto because he's going to call me a pussy right now. And I step to the side and I'm like, I don't think I could go up to the top no more. I'm looking at the ladder, it's shaking, and we're in like these tiny ass little ladders inside. That thing's, how tall is that thing?
It's 100 feet, 96 feet.
100 feet tall versus 100 feet long seems way different. And when it's like pitch black in there. And I remember I stepped to the side of the stairwell.
Finger up your butt.
Or grabbing your ankle, messing with you. I remember stepping to the side of the ladder halfway up. And this camera guy goes by. He's like, "Can I get by you?" I'm like, "Go for it, dude." I'm like sitting there scared. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go up anymore. I'm like in my head. And the dude comes up with a big ass camera on his shoulder, and he's just one handed, just climbing the ladder. And I'm like, fuck, if this guy can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? So I get to the top of the ladder, and me and Matto are laying over the top, and we're looking down, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen 100 feet straight down versus 100 feet distance. I'm like, we'll jump 100 feet distance all day, but when you get to jump down, I'm like, I already saw like the angle of his landing and everything. Like he had it, everything all drawn out. He was practicing it. I'm like, Matto, why would you make your landing so steep when it could just be a wedge and like be the easiest jump off? And I'm like, his landing was like, do you remember the degree?
60 degrees.
60 degree, which is like pretty straight up and down. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you have to drop off this thing and land perfect. And not to mention, the landing ramp goes down, and then to the left is the biggest hole in the ground that goes underneath the Paris Hotel to the parking garage, where there's just these big ass walls and like fountains and everything's going on. And I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, why would you do this? He goes, I want it to look gnarly. And I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, you're fucking crazy, dude. Like, I'm scared just sitting up here, and you're about to jump off this thing in a week or two. And I remember the day of, I remember going out there and afterwards I was like, I'm like, Matto's not going to do something he doesn't know how to do. But I never really seen him. You never practiced it. You practiced it up at Wyvern, but you never practiced it and jumped on it there. Nah. So when we got to Vegas, that was like the first time I actually seen him go for it. And I remember sitting there, and I'm nervous as hell. I've been with the guy all day, like, and he's just like cruising, just like happy. I'm like, fuck, if he's happy, I'm happy. He got it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't doubt someone that knows when they're doing something. And I remember he did the jump to the top, and it was like the biggest relief that I got. And I was just like, oh my God, he made it. Because like the whole time I'm like, what if he overjumps it and he goes past the end? I'm like, am I going to see one of my buddies die tonight? Like we were like best friends. Like we were inseparable. Like we were together every single day. We lived on the same street. Like we're always messing with each other, playing pranks on each other. And I was so nervous watching this jump, and then he landed, and I was like, fuck yeah, he did it. And I'm like all stoked, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, oh fuck, he has to jump down it now. I'm like, oh my God, I got nervous again. I'm like, I can only imagine what this dude's going through right now.
That's the craziest part about the whole trick. I don't understand. Like, it's hard enough to get up there. What made you think that you needed to do more?
That's right.
Like,
you already did the stunt. Just leave your bike and helicopter out of there
and then
leave.
climb down or something.
But Robbie's like, yeah, I could jump up, and they're like, what about getting down? He's like, I can jump down it too. If I can jump up it, I can jump down it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never let myself take the easy option.
No, he doesn't with anything.
No.
we see that in your life.
With every single stunt he's done, he's never taken the easy way out.
More for the viewer, dude. I mean,
yeah, I'm like, if I'm going up, I'm going back down, because I don't want anyone to say that was easy or anything. I want people to say, fuck, that was gnarly.
And we did. And I remember he landed, and I walked over to him. I'm like, hell yeah, that was sick. And I'm like, dude, there's a bunch of blood on your hand. And he's like, oh, wow. Like, because he said he used to be an electrician. So when he would pull cable, his hand would get super dry. So when he landed, you barely overjumped a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I went pretty deep at my thumb got, like, I hit the ground so hard when it slapped down, my thumb got stuck on the bar and my hand went forwards, and it just pulled all the skin away from the bone. So the bone didn't break, but just all the webbing.
Just ripped all the skin and just pouring blood. Like, I remember Amy comes up, he's giving him a hug, like he's all stoked. She's like, oh, it's fine. He hands me his gloves, goes to the hospital, comes back. We see him at the after party. He's just Matto, just living life, dude. Like, it was probably one of the funnest nights we've ever had.